Hey everybody, it's Flatbread Friday again. The weeks are going by so fast. And I had a ribeye steak in my freezer. Those white spots are frost, not anything else, just frozen fat. And what I'm gonna do today, what I wanna do today is make a steak and cheese pizza. And the last delis that I worked at, we used to always shave our own steaks. And what you do is you keep them partially frozen or mostly frozen and put them on a meat slicer and shave them up. And I have an in-home meat slicer that I'm not sure is going to be sharp enough to do it like a commercial meat slicer, but we're going to try it. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so I did it. I cut it in half. Now we're going to set it this way and slice it that way. And we'll see how that goes. We gotta put the pusher on it and turn it on. It worked great. Very cool. Now we're gonna slice it all up. And then we're going to prep the rest of our stuff and make our pizza. Our steak is all shaved up. Worked out pretty well. It's a little thicker than shaved steak that you would buy in a store, but it's still pretty thin. And now we're going to prep the rest of our ingredients, season our steak, get them ready to top our pizza, and get her done. The first thing we're going to do is slice a sweet onion into pretty thin strips. Our onions are all sliced up, and now we have some tri-colored peppers. We're going to do those. Slice our peppers in strips as well, just like that. Good size. Our peppers are sliced up, and we got shaved steak, we got peppers, we got onions. Now we're going to cook them up. We're going to spray down a skillet. A fair amount of non-stick cooking spray. I don't want to use oil with this steak because I don't want it to be too oily. So when this gets heated up, our steak's going in. We're just going to sear it up a little bit because it's going to cook again in the oven when it goes on top of our pizza. So in we go. Pan's not that hot yet, but it's getting there. And I don't want to overcook the steak. I just want to sear it a little bit. Season it up some. Sorry about the paper. Give that to the dog. She'll love to lick that. Okay, let's wait for this to sizzle. We're not going to wait. Well, we're going to wait for it to sizzle, but in the meantime, we're going to season it up with a little salt and pepper. And now we're going to go. I think our steak is done enough because, like I say, we don't want to cook it too much. So now we're going to transfer this to a plate. Let's get the rest. Piece of fat can stay there. For the vegetables, here's our shaved steak, partially cooked. I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil to our meat drippings. Excuse me. And now in comes our vegetables. I don't know if I'm going to use all the steak and vegetables for this one pizza, but I'm going to cook them up. I can make a burrito or quesadilla or something out of any that are left. And in goes the peppers too. And we're going add a little more salt and pepper to our veggies. Every layer of every dish should be seasoned. Some garlic powder. I gotta get some garlic at the store, but don't have any today, so garlic powder is gonna have to do. And some freeze-dried chives. I think we'll use them all. Now we're gonna blend these together. Cook them down for a while till they're pretty soft. And then we have one more thing we're gonna do, and it's just something that's in my mind. My original intent was to use a red sauce, just a regular tomato sauce, but then I remember that when I have a steak and cheese sub, I like tangy ketchup or mustard, or some people like mayonnaise. I'm not a big meat mayonnaise person, but I've decided to make a sort of a special sauce, like a Big Mac. So some mayonnaise, some ketchup, some mustard, you could use Dijon if you prefer it, but yellow will be good, and some sweet heat relish with its juice. And that is going to be our pizza base. We're going to mix it together. I should have picked a bigger bowl. We'll get her done. Here's our base all mixed up. It's so good, sweet and tangy, and it's going to go great with steak, peppers, and onions. The dough I had in my freezer today is the Pillsbury Poppin' Fresh. I don't know if it's called Poppin' Fresh, but it's a, backwards. So now roll it out onto this piece of parchment, stretch it out, make it fit. Okay. I'm going to roll it a little bit, press it a little, and when it's shaped, we'll place it on a baking sheet and put the toppings on. Transfer our dough to this baking sheet and finish it off. Make it the right size. And then we have to par bake this guy. And then we will build it. I think I'm going to do the turn in and crimp thing, because that produces a pretty good looking crust. Just turn it in a little bit. Then take your thumb and four fingers and follow back down about every inch. Give it a crimp. And that helps it to stand up. Yeah, that's the way we look. We're going to go all the way around. We're all ready to go in our 400-degree oven and bake for about 8 minutes. Then we'll top it off. Our crust is out of the oven, and now we're going to build our pizza. First thing that's going on is our special sauce pizza base. Let's spread it around and see how that goes. You know I like to go out to the outer edges first. I know I say that every week, but maybe don't watch every week. So we're going to spread this around And then we're gonna put on our toppings. Our sauce is on, evenly distributed. And the next thing that's going on, and this is gonna sound very un-cuisine-like, but when I have a steak and cheese sub, I like American cheese because it's melty. So that's what we're gonna use for our first cheese. A lot of steak and cheese subs have provolone. If you prefer that, that's what you should use. And if you like cheddar, that's what you should use too. But I'm using this. We're just gonna line up our slices. I'm gonna stay inside just a little bit because when it melts, it's gonna spread out. And we are gonna top this with more cheese, so it's gonna be okay. Let's just continue on. We'll break up the pieces and make them fit. Our American cheese is on, all lined up. It's gonna get melty and yummy. And the next thing that's going on is our shaved steak. Spread that around evenly all over this cheese. And it looks like we are actually going to end up using all this meat and vegetables. We're going to distribute it nice and evenly. And then the vegetables are going on. Our shaved steak is on and spread out nicely. And next thing comes our peppers and onions. We're going to distribute those around on top of the steak. Smelling so good and looking like it's gonna taste pretty good too. Our veggies are on too. Looking like a steak and cheese sandwich, but it's flat. And the last thing we're gonna do, make sure that stays inside the crust. We're gonna top it off with some shredded cheddar. You know, whatever you guys like on steak and cheese sandwiches, you know, if you like mushrooms or pickles or, you know, you can use all those too. But this one's for me, and I'm not a big pickle person. And there are pickles in the sauce, don't forget. They're sweet, which I'm more fond of. But I want to make sure that the steak gets covered with this cheese because I want it to stay safe from getting overcooked. Here's our steak and cheese pizza, or steak bomb, I guess we could call it. It's not really a steak bomb, but steak and cheese, and we're going in the oven for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we're gonna slice it up and serve it up. Our steak and cheese pizza is out of the oven, smelling amazing, looking great, brown and crispy, and meaty and vegetable-y and cheesy. And next thing we're gonna do is slice it up and serve it. Here's our steak and cheese pizza, sliced and put on a plate. And you know I like to garnish things, but I think I'm gonna skip it this time because this looks pretty good just the way it is. And now we're gonna take a bite. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Flatbread Friday. Here's our steak and cheese pizza. Vegetable-y, meaty, tangy, and cheesy, like I said before. And now we're going in. So delicious, and I hate to pat myself on the back, but the special sauce and the American cheese were a really good idea. It tastes just like a steak and cheese sub, a little less bready, but so yummy. And we will see you again soon. Happy Flatbread Friday.